What's going on, everybody? As always, you can follow me on Instagram at DreamRare. You can follow me on Twitter at Legendary Energy. You can check out my new store at dreamrare.com. You can check out my website, legendary.vision. And I'm going to wait about 5 more seconds for people to get into the live stream. And I'm going to hit you with this breaking news, which honestly doesn't matter. Everyone's going to scream and cry about this back and forth for 2 weeks, and they're not going to focus on themselves and their life and their business. They're going to yell and cry about it, make it seem like it's a huge deal, but it's really not. Anyway, I'm going to cover it because why not? It's going to get some clicks, just being honest. And I'm going to put a more rational spin on it and be a lot more honest than other people. So, Jemele Hill was suspended from ESPN for 2 weeks, but not for reasons that people might think. She called the president a white supremacist, and that was fine within their guidelines, I guess, but her new tweets were not. So she got suspended, and I'm going to read a few of them right now. The reasoning is because she started telling people on her Twitter to pretty much boycott the advertisers of the Cowboys and other teams. Talking about things that Jerry Jones said and J.J. Watt said. She says, "This play always works. Change happens when advertisers are impacted. If you feel strongly about J.J.'s statements, boycott his advertisers." Here's a few: AT&T, Bank of America, Dr. Pepper. She's got a bunch of tweets basically saying, boycott the advertisers of NFL. And I'm going to hit it directly with you guys from all sides of the political spectrum, of the social spectrum, that are going to scream and cry and argue like little kids for a week. I'm going to tell you the 100% truth of what's going on, why certain things are suspended and why they're not. People might love it, people might hate it, but everybody in this situation is acting on behalf of their corporate interest. When it comes to ESPN, they allowed her to say the Donald Trump is a white supremacist comments because that goes hand in hand with their corporate interest. They are a mega corporation owned by Disney, owning major news networks. You can go and Google and see who really owns what, who owns ESPN and what else they own and what their political and social interests are. But they allowed her to say the white supremacist comments without being suspended because that goes with their corporate interest. If you haven't noticed, the United States is not a democracy anymore. It's not a republic. It's an oligarchy at best. We keep moving left down the spectrum. Anarchy being 0% government and 100% government owned being fascism. We keep moving left, left, left. We went from republic to democracy to oligarchy. That's where we're at. And Disney and ESPN are part of the oligarchy. And the oligarchy doesn't like Donald Trump because Donald Trump is a chink in the chain, yelling all these things, really stirring things up and not going along with the normal order of it. So, of course, they didn't suspend her for saying Donald Trump is a white supremacist. They want people, the oligarchy, the real people who run the United States, they want people to think Donald Trump's a white supremacist. They want people to boycott him. They want people in the streets because if Donald Trump is impeached, that helps the oligarchy. That lets the real mega corporations and the real supremacists who actually run things, that will put them back in power. So they love those comments. Those flew. The reason this doesn't fly is because, once again, ESPN and Disney and the NFL, it's a corporation. So just to be honest, if I work at a job, in my spare time, if I go on Twitter and Facebook with my big following and I say, hey, everybody, boycott the business that pays me, 6-figure or 7-figure salaries a year, of course they're going to suspend me. Suspending is nice. That's the politically correct thing to do because they don't want to, be called racist or whatever, but they're suspending her because she's losing them business. Any mega corporation, it's to be expected if you use your social media to tell people to boycott advertisers that fund the corporation you work for. Of course you're going to get suspended or fired because you're stopping them from making money. They pay you. The reason they pay Jemele Hill or they pay Stephen A. Smith or they pay anyone, no offense, I love a lot of people on ESPN, they pay them so that they can make more money for the corporations. They're not there for any other reason. If they can push their political agenda and they can make money for the corporation, they'll be able to stay. The second that they go against their political agenda, they'll be off the air. That's why, Kurt Schilling said some stuff, and I'm not agreeing with what he said. I don't even know what he said. But if you go against the political agenda, you're gone. If you support their political agenda, you're there. But if you support their political agenda yet go against the corporations, you're going to get suspended. That's why they did it. They're a mega corporation, and she's telling advertisers they're telling people to boycott advertisers that pay the teams, that pay the NFL, that pays the ESPN. I mean, it's just common sense. I don't think it's a big social or political thing. It's just like, hey, any company in the world, go in, use your social media to tell people to not pay the company that's paying you, and see what happens. And as far as it being a business, once again, breaking it down logically, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, his business is the United States. His business is the military. His business is the flag. His business is everything America. So he says boycott the NFL because he feels the NFL is anti-flag, anti-veteran, and anti-American. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have a conversation about the protest. I think he totally should. I think both sides of the debate are acting like grown children, just screaming and crying. It's honestly unbearable for me. I barely even want to talk about this. It's annoying, and I think it's not even really a true bombshell story, but I'm just being honest. The President of the United States, his business is supporting America, so he's anti-NFL because that fits his agenda. The ESPN lets Jemele Hill call Donald Trump a white supremacist without being suspended because that's part of their political agenda. It has nothing to do with helping people of races, religions, and genders like people might think. You know, kneeling and protesting, that's great. I'm not saying I don't want to have a conversation. I do. I've been talking about social justice and the prison industry and the war on drugs longer than Colin Kaepernick has, so it's a discussion I personally am down to have. If I was the president or I ran the NFL, I would make it a lot simpler. I think everyone's complicating it, but I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying the president's business is the United States. ESPN's business is two things. They're obviously trying to make money, and they have a political agenda too, because what people don't understand, while everyone's going to scream and cry about this for a year now, they're going to be like, Jemele Hill, this and that. It's going to be racism, sexism, xenophobia, blah, blah, blah. The real story is the corporatocracy, the oligarchy of America. We keep moving left. And when it comes to social rights, that's great. But when it comes to government, that means more power and more control to the government. We've far moved past republic. We've far moved past democracy. We're moving into oligarchy, and we're creeping left. And they're using social justice and these type of things to distract and use people to gain more government power. Here, give us your guns. Here, that's racist and that's sexist. So you can't say that. You can't say that. I'm not disagreeing, but they're just using those as a scapegoat to move further down the political chain and gain more power. That's why she's allowed to say he's a white supremacist, because they don't want Donald Trump there. It has nothing to do with him being racist or sexist. It has everything to do with him trying to take power back to the people and take it away from the government. They want to gain more and more power. And that's like the big story here that no one's talking about is YouTube, major corporation, has become Corporation Tube. They're no longer YouTube. It's literally the corporations make all of the money. Jimmy Kimmel gets all of the money. ABC, the Young Turks, who are pretty much a mega corporation now disguised as indie journalists. You have all of the big corporations. They get all of the advertising money now on YouTube. And now independent journalists who are telling the truth and who aren't lying on behalf of fascist corporate America, once again, the oligarchy, the major corporations that truly run our government, it's not one person, it's those people. They control the information, they have all the money, they have all the resources, they have all the tools we use, Google, Facebook, all of the major news sources we watch on television, they own them all. They're trying to move further left, so they're taking all the money away from people like me, independent journalists, left-leaning, right-leaning, centrists. Finally, like really liberal, left-leaning people are waking up like, oh my God, like I agree with Jimmy Kimmel, but now they're taking my money too. It's like, yeah, bro, that's what we've been trying to tell you. It has nothing to do with race, it has nothing to do with sex, it has nothing to do with what gender you choose or were born into. It has everything to do with the corporate oligarchy moving further and further and further left, not down the social chain, using social justice and social causes to gain more and more and more and more control. And of course they're going to weed you out eventually. Like, whoa, I was supporting them the whole time, but now they just stole all of my money. Yeah, that's what fascism is. That's what communism and over-socialism is them taking all of the money, them taking all of the control, them having all of the power and all of the flow of information, and you being left with nothing. Even if you supported them the whole time, they're going to steal your money too because you're not part of the mega corporation. So if you're on ESPN or you're on ABC or you're on CNN or you're on MSNBC and you say what they want you to say, no matter how profane it is, if it goes along with the political agenda, yeah, go ahead. Call them white supremacists. That's what they want. They want the division. They want the, magnifying like the 0.001% of ignoramuses that they always broadcast and act like it's everybody when it's not. They want that. But the second you go against their advertisers, like Jemele Hill just did, now they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, don't mess with our money. That's just what's happening. It's all run by money. And I agree to an extent that even free market capitalism has its flaws in the sense of, greed runs a lot of it, and people are too greedy, and people care about money and power more than they and blown up egos than they do about people and love and appreciation and gratefulness. And it turns into this culture of just complete swallow and eat everything and run over everybody and never be happy. I agree with that. So it's like, I get where the Jemele Hills and I get where the Colin Kaepernicks are coming from. I see eye to eye on them with a lot of their core issues. I just have a problem with how they're going about it, because I truly believe, while I agree and think there needs to be a discussion about social justice, about, police, and about authorities abusing their power and a reform in the criminal justice system, I agree with Jemele Hill on that, and I agree with Colin Kaepernick on that. But what I think that Jemele Hill and Colin Kaepernick themselves and their fans and supporters don't understand is they're being used for the corporate oligarchy agenda. Literally, that's all they are, is just pawns in the corporate oligarchy agenda of taking more and more power. As they're making this the big story, YouTube is getting hundreds of millions of dollars from independent people and funneling all the money to the corporations. This is happening. This is one of the biggest websites in the world, the biggest video website, gutting all of the money from independent people and throwing it all in the hands of mega corporations. And these same mega corporations, they're pushing the Jemele Hill and Colin Kaepernick, agenda, not because they care about social rights like I do and like they do. It's because they're using it to create a more fascist country in the name of stopping fascism. Oh my God, Donald Trump's a white supremacist Nazi, so let's stop him from giving power back to the people, and let's stop him from, making it so there's less control. Like, everything is about control. Everything is about money. That's all this is about. I might get love. I might get hate for this. I'm going to post it on YouTube. It'll probably get a good amount of views. But don't hate me, because I'm just being honest with you. There's going to be a lot of people lying about this situation on the left and the right, and they're going to scream at you. They're going to scream their emotions. They're going to scream their feelings. They're going to scream racism and sexism and unfairness. But I'm probably going to be one of the only ones telling you the blunt truth about it. Trump, his business is America, the flag, and the veterans. So he's allowed to say that because he's the president. He's on a pedestal right now. And also, that's his business is America. And he feels like the NFL is pushing an anti-America agenda, which they are. Whether it's in disguise or not, they are, because it feeds into their corporate oligarchy interest. If they're anti-America and they get people to tear America down, who do you think gets back in the hot seat? Do you think Colin Kaepernick gets to be president or I get to be president? No, it means Mike Pence gets to be president and other people that are more easy to control and that will listen to the mega corporations. This is just the natural order of things. So that's Trump's agenda. That's ESPN's agenda. So that's why they allow her to say he's a white supremacist, but they don't allow her to say, oh my God, stop the advertisers, because they want the It's all about money and power. When it helps them get money and power, they're like, sure, say whatever you want. We don't care. But when it stops them from getting money and power, they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's why they don't like me. That's why they don't like conservatives. It's not because they're all neo-Nazis. 99.9% of them aren't neo-Nazis and don't care about race. They don't like conservatives, and they don't like libertarians, and they don't like smart progressives, because they've caught on to the fact that we're moving further and further down the left power scheme. More and more freedoms and money and taxes are being taken away from the people, given to the mega corporations. And anybody who realizes that, like, whoa, oh my God, you're now a threat to them stealing everything and taking complete control of the United States. They already have it. Look at what YouTube's doing. Look at what Facebook's doing. Look at what Twitter's doing. We're at oligarchy. It goes anarchy, 0% government, Republic, little government, democracy, half government, now where we are oligarchy, almost complete control, and we're on the cusp. While everybody thinks the right wing is taking over, we're literally on the cusp of oligarchy slash fascism, and it has little to do with one man in the White House. It has everything to do with Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, ESPN, Disney, ABC, NBC, the mega corporations who own ABC and NBC, and all of the news publications. They're trying for complete control of information, of free thought, of taxes. They want more money, more control. This is what this is all about. And to Jemele Hill and Colin Kaepernick and everybody that's outraged on the left or the right, let's have an honest discussion as people. The more we argue, the more we fight, the more we make this a big deal that it's not, because it's not a big deal, the more we feed the beast, the more the big corporations and the true supremacists of the world get away scot-free like they always do, because we have everyday working class people arguing about race, religion, and gender. So the real criminals who are making billions and trillions of dollars off killing people, off war, off lying to people, off stealing all the money from people, they always get away scot-free. So once again, God bless everybody. Much love to the protesters. Much love to the patriots. I would love to see some honest discussion, and let's be rational about this. I'm gonna post my link below if you would like to donate to my news analysis. Unfortunately, Google and other corporations are making it near impossible for any other sorts of funding, because the country is getting more and more fascist as everybody's screaming race, religion, and gender. What do you know? Thank you guys so much. Have an amazing day and have an amazing week.